today I figured I'd change the format and do a bit more of a talking to camera, as I've been told that it's not very engaging just having text on the screen because it's a bit uninteresting to watch. So this is kind of something that you can put on in your in the background and have a listen to what is essentially me podcasting to nobody. Here is my new 2GR-FE, and there is my built 2GR-FSE from my Lexus IS350. You'll notice that it has been over 11 months since my last video, because I've had a whole lot of life stuff happening. Not to mention, you might have noticed that I'm filming from a completely different location. This is my shed in my new house in my new town of lovely Ipswich in Queensland. So within the last 12 months, we bought a house and renovated a house and done all that fun stuff. So that's why it's been so long since I've even touched the 2GR. But that's not what we're here for today. Today I'm going to talk to you about my plans and just give a general update on what's been happening and see if I can give some expertise as to why I now own two 2GRs and why I needed to own two 2GRs. So to begin with, that is still my built motor from my last video, with all the entire monkey wrench racing catalog thrown at it, of low comp billet internals, chromoly rods, ARP studs, and monkey wrench springs, like the whole 9 yards. And this is my recently acquired 2GR-FE, which I found on a mega deal on Marketplace, because that was kind of half the reason as well, was the fact that this took absolutely forever to find because wreckers want way too much money. So finally found one, and now, due to my lack of research, the main reason why I had to buy this engine was because that Lexus engine has what's called D4S, which is, I think it's direct four-stroke or something like that. It has direct and port injection, which helps with efficiency and also power, but it is impossible to run in the aftermarket, which is why you don't see many people stray into these new modern motors, because they are impossible to run. They need hardline fuel supply, they need an insane amount of voltage to run. They're basically like a diesel injector but for a petrol. So in that case, luckily for me, this 2GR-FE, which is from the Australian market, Toyota Orion, it's also available in some Klugers or Highlanders if you're in the US. It's very, very common to see these swapped into Toyota MR2s, and Lotus uses them in their car beginning with E, I don't know. They have so many cars like that, but it's their V6 engine option that comes supercharged by Harrop, and it's the exact same motor that they use because it is a front-wheel drive motor, and it is perfect for them to just drop into a midship or a mid-engine car, like the Lotus, or commonly the MR2, as seen very frequently over in the US. Next for the project is swapping the heads from here and converting that motor to port injection only. So we're deleting the direct injection because it is, as I said, impossible to run. Not to mention the head design is completely different, so it's not just a matter of blocking off the ports, because in that FSE heads they have cutouts and different combustion chamber design based on the direct injection being present. plugging them or like simply not running them is not possible because, well, if we were to not run them and just plug the holes with the direct injectors, the tips of the injectors would melt, and that would not be a good time. It would end up in the combustion chamber and ruin all our hard work. So another reason is that, like, we was thinking plugging, but then you've got two different materials and they expand at different rates. And then you got a whole bunch of other things in terms of management and like custom design of the rocker covers, and removing the high pressure fuel pump from the cam because it's cam driven, and it's not even worth going into. It was such a headache that it was actually an easier headache having to dig one of these out from Facebook Marketplace, or I was really hoping I didn't have to buy from the wreckers, and I'm glad I didn't, because I get a hell of a whole lot less from the wreckers than I did from this guy on Marketplace. Some of the key differences are, on the front we've got obviously regular old fluid power steering. I won't be running that, as I've got electric power steering still from the 86. So it'll just be a matter of shortening this belt and just running it all on the what would be your right hand side of the engine, on this side here, and just wrapping it around the water pump to come back around. I'm pretty sure some of these motors came with EPSs, electric power steering, meaning that they have been deleted from factory. I'm assuming that the Lexus motor would have electronic power steering. So it's just a matter of buying either the Lexus belt or working out the length to run it on this one. Also, thank God, AC is included in this engine that I got. I'm glad I didn't have to buy from the wreckers. Again, another point, they remove all the accessories before they sell it to you. They even cut fuel lines and wire harnesses and crush connectors, as some even on the Lexus motor that I got, which was from a wrecker. So I'm so glad I've nailed this off Marketplace. So air conditioning, it's an absolute scorcher. We've only just left winter today, and or yesterday, and it was 36 degrees Celsius right on like the skirt of winter. So I'm definitely considering running that AC with some custom lines and things like that with the 86 condenser, sorry. What else? We got the alternator, so many non-broken sensors, which is great. Another thing is the front sump. So that was a whole discovery when we went to mock up the Lexus engine just for fun, was that the rear sump for the Lexus motor actually runs into the 86 crossmember. Not to mention the weird front oil filter housing just runs completely into the lower radiator support of the 86. So it's definitely not a suitable design. Luckily, I did my research this time and found that the front sump on the front wheel drive motor is the exact same bolt pattern as the rear sump on the Lexus motor. There are a few oil gallery holes which I'll have to plug and probably shave kind of drainage holes to return to the sump, but it's a hell of a lot less work than trying to make that rear sump work on the Lexus motor. But yes, that was a great win. I discovered that before I bought this engine, so now I have two front sumps, which isn't a bad thing. Next is obviously port injection only, which is the entire reason I had to buy this whole engine, because unfortunately no one will sell you the heads, because obviously it bricks an entire engine and reduces it to a coffee table. So in that case, I didn't mind splurging for this one because it wasn't too expensive. It also is a point to be made that the front timing case cover is a slightly different bolt pattern on the front of the heads, which is something I kind of noticed after staring at them both for a while. I'm guessing because of the different oil galleries and coolant galleries, that they differ ever so slightly, especially in the middle here. So I'll have to change the timing case cover from this one and donate it to that one. Not to mention the cams are different, as I said before. There's like an extension here that drives the high pressure fuel pump on the Lexus motor, but it's completely missing, obviously, because this one does not have direct injection for the high pressure fuel pump. So they're completely different cams, which means people actually sell cams for these motors, especially Kelford cams or like Frankenstein Motorworks is great, because there's so much aftermarket for this stuff because Lotus uses it, and there is nothing for that because it is impossible to make anything for that because nobody wants it, because direct injection doesn't support aftermarket at all. So yeah, there's that. What else have we got? It'll have to be shown probably on some B-roll, but around the back here is the main difference in the block of the 2GR-FE versus the 2GR-FSE being the starter motor location. Having this as a front-wheel drive motor means that it's got a transaxle, right? So when you've got a transaxle, the starter motor is mounted on the transaxle or the transmission, whatever you want to call it, and it actually is mounted on that side. Whereas being a rear-wheel drive motor, they've got a more traditional setup on the Lexus block, meaning that they've got a starter motor cutout on the block side, which is great. It's so much better. I actually don't think this block would even work in a rear-wheel drive situation, just because nobody makes a rear-wheel drive transmission that has a starter motor like mount to it. So without a whole bunch of engineering, which I am nowhere near qualified to get even close to, yeah, I'm not even gonna try and imagine how that would work. So it's so much better putting these heads onto that block than trying to sweat through this, making this entire engine assembly work. We've got some differences in oil supply for the VVTi solenoids, but it's just a different pipe. The actual oil supply is still in the same spot on the Lexus motor. They just this one just wraps around, tucks in behind the power steering pump, and goes behind this ECU here, because front wheel drive things, I don't know. Some dude in Japan gets paid more than I do, so he knows, and I don't need to know. So the next thing is the engine mounts. So on the Lexus motor, we've got some normal side of the block mounts for a rear-wheel drive application. You look at the 2GR-FE, and they're all over the shop because it's meant to be a front-wheel drive motor where you've got like one engine mount and two transmission mounts, or like two engine mounts and two transmission mounts. It's a mess. It does not work for the rear-wheel drive application at all. I don't think there's no bosses even on the side of the block. Probably they're the two main differences. That is the reason why you can't use an FE in the first place, and why I went for the Lexus motor first of all, is the starter motor cutout being not there entirely, and the engine mount situation. There's so many things that I could keep going on about, these little key differences, but I'd rather keep it short. I think I've been going for like 20 minutes, and I've just been talking, so I could definitely rattle off a few more things, being the differences in coolant galleries, like intake manifold, things like that, but it's all kind of negligible in the end. What's next for the 2GR-Z is complete teardown of this one, the 2GR-FE, and taking the heads off, getting them properly ported and machined. This thing's got like 190,000 Ks on it. It was from an Australian Toyota Orion, which some US people might not have heard of. Yeah, so we're going to pull the heads off, get them fully ported and machined and cleaned up, because they will no way be in a good enough condition to go directly onto that like that one was. That one only had like 19,000 Ks on it, whereas this is literally 10 times that. So get the heads ported or buy some Kelford cams, probably, I don't know, they sell them in stages. I think they're a 264, something that suits the turbocharged application while not ruining the manual drivability of it, because I will be going a manual box from a Lexus IS250, which is actually tested the same bolt pattern as the 2GR-FSE, the block, even though they were never sold manual. Only the 4GR, which is the motor that's supplied in the IS250, was ever sold manual, and they only ever sold about 1%. It was like 1% of all the models ever sold came with a manual box. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on, because this is probably already a 15 to 20 minute video of me not doing anything, but let me know what you think of the format. It'll still be a little while before I even get things apart. Things are expensive. I don't do this for a living. I'm not sponsored. I just know a concerning amount of information about 2GRs and how they fit in 86s. It's an absolute scorcher today. I should probably be mowing, so I'll see you probably in another 12 months. Thanks for watching.